When most people spit into a tube and send off their DNA, they expect their ancestry results to look like this: a symmetrical oak tree that expands out generation after generation, mapping a clear path back to a duke or minor royalty. For some users, the algorithm returns a tangled genetic map that looks like a spider web or a straight telephone pole. Geneticists call this pedigree collapse. It occurs when cousins marry cousins continuously over multiple generations. The distinct branches of a family tree curve inward and collapse in on themselves, forming tight, closed loops of shared DNA. This is the permanent biological footprint of severe multi-generational endogamy, the practice of marrying strictly within a specific closed group. The standard explanation for this kind of intense intermarriage is entirely practical. Rural families often married their neighbors and first cousins to keep farmland and property undivided. However, when we look at the early settlers of western Puerto Rico, that geographical excuse falls apart under scrutiny. Genealogists analyzing the DNA of these families realized their genetic isolation was a highly coordinated, centuries-long act of concealment. For these specific families, the tangled DNA spiderweb is a map of a people who were hiding for their lives. This heraldic crest represents limpieza de sangre, or purity of blood. In the Spanish Empire, proving Old World Catholic ancestry was the social currency to hold power. Prominent Caribbean families maintained this unbroken lineage through meticulously curated paper trails, baptismal records, and official documents. Modern discovery mechanisms like collaborative open-source genealogy and Y chromosome tracing bypass these altered records. Because the Y chromosome is passed directly from father to son, it provides a genetic history that forged documents cannot touch. When this genetic data is cross-referenced with historical archives, it shows that many of the supposed purest Catholic bloodlines in the Americas were built on a foundation of protective lies. When DNA algorithms trace these Caribbean lineages backward, the lines converge across the Atlantic and point directly to the Iberian Peninsula, revealing deep, undeniable Sephardic Jewish roots. These ancestors were conversos, Jews who were forced to convert to Catholicism during the Spanish Inquisition. Entire dynasties, like the Ibn Yahya family, fled to the Caribbean mountains to escape the crown's spies. To avoid being exposed as secret Jews and burned at the stake, they had no choice but to marry strictly within their tight-knit, trusted circle, preserving a hidden cultural heritage. Pedigree collapse in these mountains represents a highly effective, desperate survival strategy against systemic religious persecution. Today, the truth of a DNA result can trigger genuine psychological shock, shattering centuries of carefully maintained aristocratic family lore in a single afternoon. This collision of data and identity often triggers the Torquemada complex. Some descendants attempt to deny or digitally delete their marginalized Jewish ancestors from collaborative family trees to protect a fictional social standing. These individuals act as digital wardens, policing their own history and building digital bonfires to erase the names of those who kept their lineage alive. By fighting the raw DNA data to protect an inherited myth, these descendants are actively repeating the exact erasure the Spanish Inquisition started 500 years ago. Collaborative genealogy forces us to redefine what noble actually means. These everyday people standing before their local parish are the real subjects of the story. Surviving 5 centuries of exile, isolation, and the Inquisition is vastly more profound than possessing a manufactured imperial title. This hidden past survived beyond the DNA spiderweb, lingering in quiet, unexplained family customs, like grandmothers who swept the floor toward the center of the room, or who instinctively lit 2 candles in a back bedroom every Friday night. By revealing these tangled, overlapping genetic loops, modern genealogy finally gives these survivors the credit they were denied in life.